Warning. This podcast contains spoilers.
Third World Cinema Club.
Welcome to Third World Cinema Club. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion.
Hi, I'm Jim of Jim Melicula pa.
We'll be joined later by Princess Kinoko Film Police Reviews, and we're also joined by a special guest, also a member of Film Police Reviews. He curates festival films, watches a lot of films. Also, he's based in Canada. Yan. So, say hello. Ano ba?
Yes.
Say hello.
Hello, kamusta? Hi guys.
Yeah, Roland Basmayor is here with us today. And we'll be discussing select films from the recently concluded 2021 Toronto International Film Festival.
Yes. Sa mga nagtatanong po, siya po yung dahilan kung paano po kami nakapanood
Opo.
ng watch party.
Nakita ko nga, ang dami nagtatanong
Ayun. Maraming salamat,
sa
Roland.
Facebook.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Giving us the opportunity. Yan, charot.
Yes.
Ayun. So, we'll be talking about 9 films from the festival that we watch. We watch a whole lot more films than this, pero these are the films that we think you'd like to hear us talk about, hopefully. And if you haven't heard of these films before, we'll describe it for you. We'll help you along, no? Ayun. So the first film we'll be discussing today is the latest film from Céline Sciamma, Petite Maman. This is French for little mom, no? So it's about this 8-year-old girl who lost her beloved grandmother. And she's helping her parents clean out her grandmother's childhood home. So basically her mother's childhood home na rin. So one day, her mother suddenly disappears. She leaves for somewhere. And then this kid named Nellie meets a girl of her own age in the woods building a treehouse who looks exactly like her. So siguro opening Roland, what are your thoughts about Petite Maman?
So, nung una, medyo nagulan ako kasi hindi ko binasa yung synopsis eh. Parang, in-expect ko is parang coming of age film siya, pero hindi ko na-expect yung magical realism na component. And then, nun ko lang na-realize na the story is somewhat, similar to when Marnie was there, but it's a different mix or different mood. Unang-una animation yung film na yon. And I think this is one of, I can say, a comfort film of Céline Sciamma. I think we are seeing her directing a film by which it's very comfortable, very relaxing and cute, and at the same time it's very mature because there are some lines in the film na talagang nakaka-touch, like yung pag-wonder nung little girl about sa death ng grandmother niya, like why did she leave? She didn't say goodbye. And then walang masabi yung mother niya, kundi it's because we don't know and you don't know as well. So nakaka-touch yung part na yun, and I think it's extremely relatable. And then after that, nung somewhere in the middle, nagkaroon na ng mga elements of magical realism, and doon medyo nagkaroon ng confusion sa story, pero nung third act and until the last scene, nagpit together yung puzzle, and it's a very poignant film, and I think it's something that you would want to see before you go to sleep. It's like, it's like one of those stories that our mothers or grandmothers tells about, and I'm sure this is a type of film that that audiences will remember even after days of seeing it or weeks of seeing it. It's sobrang simple, and yet it's very impactful because I think it's very touching but not over the top.
Ayun.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree, no? This is her follow-up to a very different film in Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And here, Sciamma tackles the idea of grieving and how people process their grief. In a way, pwedeng it's how people deal with anxiety, parang yung processing anxiety din, or an anxious future na hindi nila alam. Kasi in the story, the girl that this kid meets, Marion, is going to have an operation later that week, parang ganon. And she is nervous about that. In the meantime, the kid is still trying to process the death of her grandmother, who she loved very much, no? And also yung nakita ko, ako yung I na-interest ako sa Ghibli comparison mo, Roland, kasi ako may comparison talaga for this film is My Neighbor Totoro, no? Kasi it also features two kids who are trying to deal with in Totoro, the two kids are trying to deal with the illness of their mother, and then they get into all of these parang magical situations together. Na parang ganito rin dito. Although dito Shiyama injects parang an additional dimension of yun nga, processing grief, and it's an empathic film. Ano siya? It's like a warm hug of a film, no? Na these people are not, hindi sila nagkakagalitan. There's no antagonist per se. They're just trying to they're trying to process their feelings together, which is it's Shiyama trying to veer away from siguro violence or trauma na ganun. And meron din parang feeling na sometimes it's easier to deal with your feelings if you deal with it in simpler terms. And paano mo magagawa yun in simpler terms, lalo na especially if you're in the parang yung mindset mo is in a child na you tend to simplify, you tend to reduce things to something that you can better understand, or you make something up, or you make fantastical situations like make your mother a child, parang ganon, in order to grasp yung idea na yun better. Pero yun doon ako. Ikaw, Jim?
Ako kasi parang while watching it, ang naisip ko na films na parang medyo not really similar pero somewhat parang inspiration ganun. The Lake House and Summer in Time, kasi 'di ba medyo nga lang malayo yung agwat, 'di ba? Ang agwat nung generations. Pero ito syempre hindi naman to romance drama. This is a coming of age drama. Tapos ang nakakatuwa dito, because of that parang time travel something, 'di ba? It connects generations of women, 'di ba, mother and child. Ang nakita ko rin doon was that siguro kaya ganun yung pinakita ni Shama sa film kasi kino-connect niya yung mother doon sa child because somewhat yung mother ay nawalan ng childlikeness. 'Di ba kasi as you grow older, once na naanuhan ka na ng circumstances in life, 'di ba? Parang nawawala na yung childlikeness. And 'di ba nag-grieve sila doon sa grandmother, and somewhat yung tawag ito yung mother may wall or meron siyang parang ambivalent siya doon sa asawa, even doon sa anak, if you'll notice. So nandun yung part na yung anak niya din is longing to connect with the child. However, the mother is still processing the grief or loss. Kaya hirap connect. Kaya nandun yung part na yung reality and fiction na ito ba talagang nangyayari na nakita nung bata ay is it real or imagination lang ng bata? Kasi di ba alam mo nang pag bata may mga times talaga na may imaginary friend, di ba? Pero ang ganda niya, I also agree with you guys na it's a comfort film. Hindi siya yung napakaganda ng pelikula dahil simple siya, hindi siya yung masyadong cerebral, gano'n. Yun ang maganda dun sa film kasi aminado hindi ako masyadong connect with Portrait on a Lady of Fire because this was just my second film na napanood kay Shama. So nung napanood ko tong Petit Mama, fairness kay Shama, kaya niya palang gumawa ng ganitong film. And at the same time, ang naisip ko while watching it, kasi 'di ba let's say pandemic ginawa tong Petit Maman, ano kaya yung mga precautions nila? Kasi bata yung yung bida doon sa di ba, sa film. So, paano kaya ginawa nila no, during the pandemic sa France? Paano kaya nila shoot yun? Yun yung mga naiisip ko while watching the film. Ayun.
Kung siguro, kung if you have the opportunity, Jim, I recommend yung mga earlier films niya, yung Girlhood or yung Tomboy, pwede din yung Pauline. Makikita mo yung parang paano niya fine-frame yung characters niya. Although this is a step forward in my opinion dun sa ginagawa niya with his other films. Ayun.
Okay.
So, yun, no? Any final thoughts? And so we can move on to the next film.
So to me, I think it answers our curiosity. I don't know if hindi ko alam kung naisip nyo rin na once in your life na how would you feel if your mother or father is the same age as you, and kung magiging mag-best friend ba kayo or magiging close friend ba kayo, because in times na hindi kayo nagkakaintindihan, tumasagi sa isip ko na magkakasundo ba kami kung the same age kami or nag-meet kami sa school na the same age. So yun, parang sinagot niya yung curiosity ko na yun.
In fairness. Yeah. Kumbaga kumbaga yung generation gap, nagkaroon siya ng bridge doon sa doon sa film na Petit Maman. Ganda, fairness.
Parang nga yan yung no, yung idea ni Robert Zemeckis behind Back to the Future, no. Paano kung kasama mo sa high school yung tatay mo? Parang ganun. I guess ganun din siguro yung energy na inaano si Yama dito. And also, ako ulila na ako sa grandparents, lahat ng grandparents ko. Nakita ko din yung value in in wanting a proper goodbye. Kasi minsan talaga hindi ka makapag-goodbye ng properly sa taong mahal mo. Minsan bigla na lang silang mamamatay. So parang ganun din no? Na ayun, kung gusto mo, naghahanap sila ng space para makapagpaalam ng mabuti. Pero yun, ako lang yun. Anyway, let's go on to the next film. The next film is The Humans by Stephen Karam. Karam. Stephen Karam. It's based on his one-act play of the same name. So he also made the play. He made also the film. And it stars Richard Jenkins, Amy Schumer, Beanie Feldstein, Steven Yeun, so on and so forth. So this is a pre-war duplex in downtown Manhattan. It follows the course of an evening in which the Blake family gathers to celebrate Thanksgiving. As darkness falls outside the crumbling building, mysterious things start to go bump in the night and family tensions reach a boiling point. So, sige Jim, ikaw muna. What did you think about The Humans?
Ako naman, with The Humans, na-surprise ako with Amy Schumer's dramatic performance. Kasi alam naman natin pag sinabing Amy Schumer, comedy ang ang genre. So, when I watched it, parang, wow, kakaiba to for Amy Schumer. Nababasa ko rin sa Twitter, nababasa ko rin sa mga article na yun nga yung yung highlight ng film. Mm-hmm. Tapos, ang gusto ko with The Humans, yung the way na yung camera maglinger siya doon sa sa detail ng duplex, para siyang Russian art. Ganun, itong pag umaano yung camera doon sa sa duplex, ganun. Although syempre with Russian art maganda talaga yung architecture, pero dito hindi Yun yung
kasi Russian art, 'di ba, one take 'yun. Actually inisip ko
yes,
one take din to, pero hindi naman talaga. May cuts din naman to.
Yes, oo. Tapos siya, I felt para siyang The Father. Pero syempre mas gusto ko yung The Father, sorry. Ganon. Tapos ang nangyayari kasi with the film, ang na-notice ko yung duplex, para na siyang witness dun sa mga secrets, 'di ba? Kasi may parts sa film na ang maganda dun sa framing, yung mga narrow door, mga closed door, 'di ba? Kasi parang ano kaya yung lihim doon na ano kaya pinag-uusapan nila Beanie Feldstein, nila Steven Yeun, ganun ba yung mga may mga hindi tayo alam, pero ang ganda ng framing kasi yung narrow door, it's a framing na sandali, merong secret sa hindi alam, and at the same time merong pang merong pang magaganap doon sa film later on, ganon. Tapos di ba, kasi dysfunctional family sila, di ba? Ako, I believe, ito yung mga dysfunctional family na kung kapitbahay natin, ayaw nating makimingle with them. Kasi kakaiba kasi yung family.
Ah,
Ayun. Yun lang, so far.
ayun. How about you, Roland? Your thoughts on this film?
So, sa akin, I really like it. May mga ilan akong films na naalala when I saw The Humans. Unang-una is yung film ni Kogonada, yung Columbus. Because
Mm.
uh, both films nag-concentrate sila na in such a way, yung setting is also a character of its own na naging interact doon sa mga human characters. So, it seems nakaka-affect ng mood yung claustrophobic shots, and yung mga approach close-up shots and approach sa cinematography. So it seems na yung house itself or even the sections of the house are behaving as living things. So that's why naalala ko yung film ni Kogonada. And the other film na naalala ko, syempre yung The Father. Because I think the common thing is that yung director is a playwright and first time nila parehong nag-try to direct a film. And both films are sort of groundbreaking because they use the basics of stage and then ginamitan nila ng innovation to present it in the film medium. Yung The Father, naging playful siya sa editing techniques, while this one is more of yung cinematography niya and yung tone. So in that way, it's very different from stage discipline because like dito sa film na to, the sound design is really good and the way you capture the sound in film is really different from the theater. So that's why I think the director really did a good job aside from managing the characters but also managing the technical aspects of the film. And the third film na naalala ko is yung kay Xavier Dolan, yung It's Only the End of the World. I don't know if you have seen that film but it's the same in such a way that pinapakita niya yung toxic relationship nung isang family and at the same time yung perspective niya is nagpo-close up siya sa mga objects dun sa house or dun sa, for example, a cigarette smoke or ashtray. So it's the same type of claustrophobia or mood yung represent ng dalawang film. So once mapanood niyo yung film na yon, maalala niyo rin yung The Human. So in terms of the way I like it, I really like it on the technical part. And gusto ko yung acting nila. I think kung may nagpo-fall short siya ng kaunti is yung hinahatapan ko siya ng more subtlety pa. Dahil although may emotions dun sa film is nangihibabaw pa rin yung thriller component. So I was hoping there's more, emotional subtlety dun sa script or depth dun sa script. But otherwise, I really like the film and its approach and Oscar prospect because it will be released November 24 I just checked. I'm still pessimistic about its Oscar chances kasi very low-key siya, di ba? Low-key thriller drama. So let's see. Hindi siya katulad ng The Father kasi The Father is nakakapukaw siya ng damdamin ng mga tao because it's really touching. It's Oscar component, right? I mean, Alzheimer's, old age. So, lahat yun check mark pagdating sa Oscar. So, I don't know kung makakapull ng appeal si Richard Jenkins and the other part of the cast. So, I hope the Academy will not ignore this because this is something new and important to the addition of American films. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yun. Siguro ako naman, I agree na, yeah, it's a very well done film. Ako very critical ako, especially for quote-unquote plays on film, di ba? Yung mga plays na ina-adapt mo sa film. Kasi sometimes talagang film lang nila yung staging and they don't do anything else with the material. Pero in this case, like they did with The Father, well, in The Father is more of an editing thing. Here, it's more of a cinematography framing thing, no? Na nagawa nila ng paraan parang in-apply nila yung elements of cinema to the work. And dagdag ko lang siguro sa idea ni Jim na yung meron silang shots of these, yung parang pagka-frame nila. Meron din parang motif na yung mga yung parang walls na may mancha or may parang na tipong yung
Yes.
sikreto ng pamilyang ito nagsisip na into the walls of the house. Ganun yung ko. And yeah, interesting nga. It's kung tutuusin, a lot of this movie is just small talk no? And it also says a lot about the violence, pero what we can glean from everyday conversations about parang the function of a familial unit, basically a family, and how it's many dysfunctions, how it manages to stand up kahit na sobrang weird ng foundations niya. I'll be perfectly honest, I had a little trouble connecting with the material, kaya gusto kong panoorin siya ulit someday. Pero nagets ko naman yung sa kanya, the praise heaped upon it. And I'm very interested in my future rewatch to see ano ba yung sinasabi niya about yung mga pre-war, kasi ito yung pre 9/11 no? Parang how does this connect to that thematically? Pero yun, that's something I will have to reserve for a future viewing. So any final thoughts about The Humans before we move on to our next film? Wala? Okay. So let's go on to the next film. It's Compartment Number 6. Wow. So Compartment Number 6 won the Grand Prix in the Cannes Film Festival. No? This is directed by Juho Kuosmanen. Sana tama yung pronunciation ko na. So it takes place in the end of the 1990s. No? So after, I think this is after Glasnost. I'm not sure. So there's a Finnish graduate student, Laura, played by Sadie Harla, who is finishing up her graduate studies in Russia. And to celebrate, she's going to see some rock formations somewhere in the extreme north of Russia. And she's taking a train car there. So while on the train, she meets a miner named Lyoha, who is a gloomy, unsociable type. No? And although at first they don't click together, they find out more things about each other over the course of the trip, and they form a very unlikely bond. So I guess for me, I really like this film. Pero I'm a particular sucker for those types of films na two strangers meeting somewhere and then forming a bond na hindi naman, not really, parang at first not really love, kind of friendship, but maybe evolves into something better. Makagaya. In our case, parang Before Sunrise. Yeah, yan siguro yung archetypal kasi it also takes place on a train. And siguro sa atin, probably that thing called Tadhana, those kinds of hugot movies. But Compartment Number 6 to me is a much more quieter, it's a much more subtle film. And surprisingly, it has a lot of very interesting emotional payoffs. Pero at its core, it's just trying to say na sometimes the journey is better than the destination. As you may scene sa huli na Laura finally sees the rock paintings, no, after a long journey along with Yoha, and it's parang sinasabi sa kanya nung kasama niya, parang yun na yun. Parang sabi niya, yeah, yun na yun. Pero it's not the rock paintings anymore. It's the journey that these two people have embarked on together, and the journey of understanding then between the two of them, no? So yun. Yun lang. Siguro Jim, your thoughts on Compartment Number 6?
Actually, wala talaga akong idea with Compartment Number 6 while watching it. Hindi ako nagbasa ng synopsis, even trailer. Saka nalaman ko lang, di ba, nung parang before the mismong film, I mean the opening scene, nung nilabas na Grand Prix, ay, nanalo pala to ng Grand Prix sa Cannes. I don't have, parang wala talaga akong alam sa film, pero surprisingly, nagustuhan ko yung Compartment Number 6. And parang somewhat, habang pinapanood ko yung Compartment Number 6, napa-search ako nga sa, sa Google. Tapos may mga nabasa ako na it is being compared to, to Before Sunrise, which I agree kasi same na nag-meet sila sa train yung two lead characters, ganun. Saka I find it parang not really that realistic, pero mas gusto ko yung approach na hindi sociable or antisocial yung guy. Kasi di ba usually pag ganyan, pag mga meet cute something, yung guy is very sociable, ganun, parang very interested siya agad dun sa girl. Dito kasi hindi parang aggressive siya. Parang hindi mo, ayaw mo talaga siyang makasama.
Di ba nga lasing pa nga siya nung umpisa ng pelikula, parang naglasing pa siya. Which leads to yung parang tinatanong niya ano ba yung infinish yung I love you. Tapos yung sinabi sa kanya nung sabi sa kanya ni Laura fuck you.
Oo.
Tapos naulit yun nung ending kasi sinulat niya dun sa papel yung tinuro sa kanyang salita.
So aside from that, nagustuhan ko yung performances ng lead actors. Kasi like si Yurey Borisov, siya yung guy, diba?
Yeah.
Yun. So nagagalingan ako sa kanya even dun sa lead actress. Lalo sa lead actress kasi ako aminado naguguluhan ako dun sa sexuality niya kasi 'di ba at first lesbian siya. Nagkaroon siya ng
her lover is babae din.
Babae. Pero kasi parang yun nga din Kuya Roland Yun din ang naiisip ko. Baka bisexual
I think
siya kasi
bi
diba?
siya.
Kasi parang later on di ba nagkalikan nga sila nung guy. Kaso kasi ang medyo naging concern ko lang with the film regarding yung pagiging progressive. Baka dun yung film. Kaso kasi it was set in the 90s, 'di ba? Yung film kasi was set in the late 90s. So hindi pa ganun yung when it comes to the sexual politics or the gender politics. Kaya parang medyo somewhat ako for me, okay na ganun yung naging dynamic nung film when it comes to the gender politics kasi during the 90s di pa naman totally ganun ka acceptable or progressive. Kaya yung character ni Hades Sarla from the lesbian or let's say bisexual, nagkaroon nga siya ng ng attraction with the guy, ganun. And ako I believe deserving siya sa Grand Prix. Surprisingly naganda ako sa film.
Ayun. Roland, ikaw, your thoughts on the film?
Yun nga, di ba? Siya yung type ng film na naisip ko na if you want to tell what happened to your friend, parang napaka-konti lang nung makikwento mo dahil talagang konti lang naman talaga yung nangyari, di ba? But I think it's about the feelings na nilabas ng film through its actors na talagang I think magaling talaga sila.
Yeah.
And sobrang galing nila na yung parang magro-root ka sa kanila, ano ba? Ibig sabihin, papansinin mo na ba yung leading girl or dahil sobrang introverted nung guy, di ba? Parang doon din ako na-excite. Hindi ko siya nakikita sa film. Na palaging, di ba sabi mo nga Jim na palaging yung guy yung nag-a-approach. And I think it's very refreshing to see na makakita nung ganong combination na very rare mo nakikita sa ibang klaseng script. And yes, it's in a way it's very comforting to watch as well because parang the setting is sobrang lamig, di ba? And they are traveling in snow jackets. But contrast yun dun sa nafe-feel mo dun sa dalawa because there's a brewing attraction and there's something exciting about the two. So yeah, there's a contrasting effect about dun sa setting and then dun sa project na feelings ng dalawang character. And because of that, it's very memorable to me. And one thing I like about European actors, narinig ko na rin to sa ibang friends ko na parang wala silang pakialam how will they look in the camera. Like, for example, yung susunod sila sa conventional standards of beauty, like how should a leading actress should be, or a leading guy should be. And kung makikita natin dito yung leading leading girl is very simple yung dating niya, 'di ba? And kung paano siya mag-ayos, kung paano siya makipag-usap, walang pa-girl effect or walang pa-cute effect. And I really like it sa mga European films when the actors are really, mas mukha silang normal and realistic in terms of how they talk on screen. Yun.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the two lead performances, they really carried the film on their shoulders. Because otherwise, the film wouldn't have worked without them. And I guess my final thoughts for this film. This is a film about two very lonely people who try to connect with each other in a journey, and even if they can't be more different in terms of their outlook in life. One of them is a historian. She looks at the present through the past, and the other one is just living life one day at a time. So
Historian ba siya dyan or archaeologist?
Archaeologist pala, sorry.
Archaeologist siya.
Yeah. And yun, no? It's very interesting. I learned also that this was based on a book, or some sort of work. Literally work. I think it's a novel. Pero yeah, that's it. I liked it. It's a very nice film, and I love the ending. Do you have any last thoughts about this film before we move on to the next one?
Di ba kasi ang hinahanap ng girl dyan is petroglyphs. I remember when I was in college, nagkaroon kami ng travelog project, and in Angono, Rizal, meron ding petroglyphs. Kaya parang while watching it, mayroon din palang petroglyphs in other country. Akala ko dito lang sa Pinas.
Pag mag-PNR ba tayo papuntang Jim? Makakamit din ba tayo ng
Romantic ba yun?
Romantic.
Grabe na yun. Cinematic kapag may mga ganong effect.
Ni-remake ko, no? Please remake Compartment Number 6 here. Ayun. So, okay. So, let's move on to the next film. The next film is directed by Michael Pierce. It's called Encounter, and it stars Riz Ahmed as a former soldier who a decorated Marine, basically, who goes to his two sons, who are being raised by their mother. That the two are separated, no, and he takes them on a road trip to, I think, Nevada or Las Vegas, somewhere there, because he thinks alien microorganisms have invaded Earth and are infecting people to act violently. And that's all I'm gonna say about that for now. So Encounter. Roland, what are your thoughts about Encounter?
So honestly, na-disappoint ako sa film kasi if you check in IMDb, the genre of the film is really sci-fi and thriller, right? So medyo siguro depende sa nanonood, but to me it's clear na merong misdirection in terms of expectation kung ano ba talaga yung genre. And nabagalan ako dun sa progression ng storya niya, especially after nung tinakita yung elements of sci-fi, like what he thinks is happening to the people, and then after that bumagal after niyang kunin yung mga anak niya, and then medyo nag-stall yung storya, and it turns into a parental drama, and then nag-speed up lang siya uli ng third act nung nagkaroon na ng confrontation and dumating na si Octavia Spencer, right? So after that, halos na-lose ko na interest, but the third act medyo nag-tune in pa rin ako, pero it's not really captivating as I expected. So I think the film was saved by Riz Ahmed performance. So if it's not for him, I wouldn't care to even talk about it. So I think Riz Ahmed is really good. That's why the film is still worth watching, especially for his fans. Yun.
Jim, how about you? Your thoughts on this film?
Actually, same kami ni Kuya Roland. Na-disappoint din ako sa film. Sadly. Sabi ko nung at first, yung opening scene, sabi ko, parang The Tree of Life ata ito kasi ang ganda nung pagkakagawa. Tapos nung mga after that, aminado din na ako engaged sa film. Hindi na ako interested. Kasi parang nung pinapanood ko na siya, sandali, ang alam ko sci-fi, bakit biglang naging parental drama na parang tawag dito, yun nga yung sabi ni Kuya Roland, misdirection na yung naganap na parang sayang kung na-execute sana ng maayos, di mas interesting siya. Kaya lang, ayun, yun ang
It's like,
problema.
ginagawa pa talaga yun ng mga IMDb na they will write it as sci-fi, for example, or whatever genre, but turns out not. Because to me, kung hindi tama, it's for sole purpose of marketing. So I'm not sure kung i-correct nila yun one day. I don't know.
Not sure din po kuya kung sa Letterboxd ganun. Kasi actually wala akong idea with Encounter din. Parang tawag dito, na-curious lang ako because it's Riz Ahmed. And syempre si Riz Ahmed, na-impress ako sa kanya in Sound of Metal and Nightcrawler. Kaya yun yung reason kung bakit I encounter Riz Ahmed. However, yun nga, I also believe and I agree with Kuya Roland na si Riz Ahmed yung nag-save ng pelikula. Kasi even si Octavia Spencer, underutilized siya eh. Tapos,
That's true.
akala ko si Misha Collins, kasi nandun siya eh. Di ba kasama yan dati sa Supernatural. Magkakaroon siya ng substantial character or role. Hindi din. Parang, sayang. Parang miss opportunity ng pelikula. Ayun. Tapos, the ending as well, ambiguous. Parang, ano ba nangyari? Parang ano nangyari? Ganun yung while watching it. Ayun, so far, yun lang yung masasabi ko. So, parang, okay. so ako with the film, sorry.
Yeah, I actually echo din your sentiments, no. I think they were going for this really powerful parang exploration of PTSD, pero hindi na i-communicate ng mabuti din in the end. Iniisip ko, would the film have been better kung mas ambiguous siya with regards to, is the alien invasion really real, or would that have given less credence dun sa treatment nila of the PTSD, or is this really a good depiction of PTSD at all? Yun. Pero naligtas siya ni Riz Ahmed because he's such a parang he seems like a nice guy. Seems like a nice guy. Parang, tsaka at least naririnig ko siyang magsalita dito kumpara sa, well, naririnig ko din naman sa Sound of Metal. Pero, yeah, he's a great actor. And the kid actors are actually pretty good as well, no? Parang you tend to at least you tend to gravitate towards them na tipong they love their father regardless of what he's going through. And I agree din with the ending na sana they would have done more with the ending. Parang, are they gonna shoot the guy? Are they gonna shoot the kids? What's gonna happen? It's all uncertain eh. Pero yeah, it's just okay. Parang it's aggressively, it's okay. So yeah, are there any more thoughts about Encounter before we move on to the next film? None? Okay. So the next one's a doozy, no? This one won the Palme d'Or at the recent Cannes Film Festival, no? It's a film directed by Julia Ducournau, who directed Draw in 2016. This film is very hard to classify. I mean, there a lot of people are saying it's body horror, a lot of saying it's some sort of psychosexual thriller. But anyway, this film is Titan, which is French for titanium. It follows this car show model played by Agathe Roussel, and due to an accident in her youth, she has a titanium plate grafted onto her skull. Years later, she has sex with a car and becomes pregnant, and then she goes to a firefighter played by Vincent Lindon, and pretends to be his long lost son. And he, for some reason, he takes her in, and some weird stuff ensues. So I guess I guess I'll start it off. No, Titan. It's a very interesting film. I don't love it as much as the international critics do. I think it's very nice. It's a great film, and it has a lot of ideas that are ahead of its time. I've been reading I've been reading interviews with Ducournau in various outlets, and she's been telling us about para how she views gender as something that's very fluid, and that really manifests itself in the main character. She's very androgynous. She can pass as one name to another. I'm not sure what the film itself says about, for example, trans representation, or or if it says anything at all. It's not my place to say either way, no. Pero it says something about, I think it says something about gender fluidity, and from what I got from the film, kasi I was parang exploring the film's relationship to subject and object in terms of objectification, and how it leans into, say, parang when we quote unquote objectify someone, what do we do with it? Because there's some sort of conflation between, for example, the cars in the film with these female bodies, and then later we have imagery of this fire truck with these fire trucks with these very masculine bodies na topless, di ba? And then there's also there's this idea of augmentation of the body then, not in the sense of, kasi when we watched the screening with you guys, Roland and others, you were talking about ideas of transhumanism. And for me, transhumanism implies something of augmentation rather than just transformation. Here talaga, parang parang they are machines. Parang ganun yung lumalabas na implication sa akin. They're not trying per se to improve, but to become something else. Parang may metamorphosis na implication sa kanya. So, ayun. Although, admittedly, my interpretation could be very wrong. I mean, this is a very abstract film that anyone can interpret in their own ways. Pero yun. Magulo siya. It takes a while to process my thoughts about the film. Pero it's the kind of film na mapapaisip ka talaga. And that's one thing I really liked about it. So, Roland, your thoughts about the film?
Yes, to me, I really like it because it's very thought-provoking, and I think the director is very good with some concepts that is way ahead of our time. Even in Raw, yeah, she's a feminist, but this film, I think, it mocks everything. I mean, because it wants to stay away from from any forms of branding. So parang represent niya na yung body is just, a stage of our evolution, and just a part of it, one part of it is we will transform ourselves into a machine. And in a way, may dalawa akong naaalala dun sa style ng filmmaker. There's only one filmmaker na binuview niya yung gender fluidity, and binuview niya na everything just belongs to one type of, of being. If you observe the films of the Wachowski siblings, ganun din silang gawa ng film about gender fluidity. And if you have seen Sense8, the way they show sexuality in there, kung paano nila represent yung pagta-transfer ng perspective from one gender or one nationality to another. They want to dissolve the borders or any type of branding. So, dun ko nare-relate yung parang style ng filmmaker sa Wachowski. Although mas body horror tong style nung French filmmaker, but conceptually it's some concepts that's way ahead of the current politics or the current global perspective. So in that sense, dun sila common. And then naalala ko rin in a way yung Ghost in the Shell. So because if you remember in Ghost in the Shell, there's a consolidation of consciousness and in the whole vastness of the net. So we are just one big consciousness. And I think dito sa film na to is pinakita niya na we just belong to one piece of entity, which is we are just being looked as a piece of meat, like nung Under the Skin, nung parang nung bumaba si Scarlett Johansson sa Earth, everything she sees on her perspective are just piece of meat. So I think doon niya pinapakita na regardless of your gender or whatever, you're just a piece of this type of organism, and if it's time for you to elevate yourselves into something else, then it will come. So yeah, it views things as very fluid or very homogeneous. I think yun yung thoughts ng filmmaker na gusto niyang ipahatid dun sa mga audiences, and I know a lot of audiences are not ready for this yet because it has components of transhumanism yet. Yes, and we are not yet through with all of our politics with for example gender or nationality. So this is a very high concept film, so yun lang yung masasabi ko, and there's no wrong interpretation, I think, and I think that's what the director wants, and I really like it for that, in that sense. Yun.
Yeah. How about you, Jim? Your thoughts about Titang?
Hindi ko napanood yan kasi mayroon akong commitment ng online
okay.
Sunday na.
Pero do you have any questions? Sayang. Do you have any questions to ask us about the film?
Wala akong maisip eh. Kasi wala akong idea dun sa film actually. Pero nung nababasa ko nga di ba dun sa thread nyo nung while you're watching it, guys. Parang sabi overly graphic. Yun. Is it talaga bang overly graphic? Kasi
ako,
sorry.
Alam mo, Jim, personally, I didn't, it's not as extreme as
ako hindi. Sanay kasi ako eh.
Sanay. If you've seen mga extreme horror movies, there are a lot of films that are more extreme than this. Nagulat nga ako na if I remember correctly, there were some people who were taken out of physical screenings na in an ambulance or something dahil hinamatay sila. Tama ba?
Sa Raw. Oo, totoo yun.
Sa Raw.
Sa screening Raw. Oh.
Okay.
Pero meron akong friend na nirecommend ko kasi sa vlog ko yung film. Pinanood nila ng girlfriend niya, and hindi daw talaga nila matapos because it's really obscene daw for them. Hindi nila tinapos.
Interesting.
Interesting, pero nung napanood ko, okay lang naman.
Okay
baka
lang.
Ako eh.
Or baka tayo ba yung weird? Tayo yung extreme. Ewan ko. Yun, oo. In terms of bodily transformation, there are films like, for example, Tetsuo the Iron Man, yung mga body horror niya na yun. Mga Cronenberg yan. I think some reviewers compared this to Cronenberg's Crash, if you remember that, di ba? Yeah. Pero there are some Cronenberg films that are a little bit more than this eh. Parang there's also this angle, especially in the last third of the film, na parang it's about nung nagko-connect na yung two main characters together. Parang kasi one of them is looking for a parental figure, the other one is looking for his long lost son, na yung substitute niya or yung object niya, kumbaga quote unquote, is itong babae. Na more or less wala naman siya pake kung buntis na siya or if she's not really that. Naghahanap lang siya ng someone to connect with. And yun eh, the end of the film is a parang rebirth of sorts, or a birth, a creation of a new entity. Ganun. Na it's still
It's like the Star Child, right?
it's like the Star Child. It speaks something to the desire for human, kahit na ano, parang this guy will now raise this baby, maybe, or something like that. Parang it's something, saying something about the human desire for connection or something. I don't know.
To be continued.